Dr. Lawrence Schiffman is Professor of Judaic Studies and Vice Provost for Undergraduate Education at Yeshiva University. Rabbi Stephen Berg is the Eastern Director of the Simon Wiesenthal Center. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Great to have you here. Dr. Schiffman, I want to start with you. At the beginning of this episode, we see Moses Mendelssohn's wife playing a key role in the Enlightenment, and Giacomo Meyerbeer's mother, Amelia, perhaps even more so. So my question is this: did women perhaps play a more important role in preserving Jewish tradition than we give them credit for?
I'm not so sure that we don't give them credit.
Okay.
That is to say, scholars are unearthing enormous numbers of really interesting memoirs and other kinds of documentation regarding women's roles, because once we get to the point of the Enlightenment, the material is easier to find. And it's true that women are writing more and expressing themselves more. And what we're finding out is that the role of women was indeed a tremendous one. For the Enlightenment, it's very important.
And a couple of important ways, their contributions?
Well, one of the things that we realized is that women were much more involved beyond the home in business affairs, things like that. But the other thing, which is certainly true in the Enlightenment, is it was among women that the tendency to get involved in things like secular studies and music and literature and the vernacular was somewhat more pronounced when men were still being held back a bit more by the religious environment in which they operated. So we have quite a number of women who gain tremendous knowledge and participate in that wider culture even before the husbands in the very same families did.
Interesting. Inspiring, I have to say. Rabbi Berg, at this point in the series, we see great potential, really great potential for widespread acceptance of the Jews, and yet it's a path that fails eventually. And clearly the story is never finished. So talk to us about what is going on at the Simon Wiesenthal Center these days in terms of teaching tolerance.
Yeah, I think what you see there is a double-edged sword. You know, on the one hand, society opens up to the Jews. On the other hand, many Jews want to believe in their faith. And the question is, where exactly do you walk that fine line where you can engage, you know, and finally getting out of the ghettos to engage, but you also don't lose your identity of who you are? And that's a lot of the work that we do in our museums of tolerance. We talk about appreciating individuals, who they are. You know, and we all know that some of the great tragedies that have happened in history have come because of hate and bullying, all those terrible things. And that's why we have to really work with young people for them to say who exactly they are and to stick to their guns and be passionate about it.
In the world of PBS, we like to think that we deal with the idea of tolerance in one of the best ways possible. At least we try our best to do our best. How do you feel about having a series like this on PBS? How important is it?
I think actually it's a miracle when you look at Jewish history that we can be sitting here and that people are going to be watching this, most of whom are not Jewish, with great interest and enthusiasm and positive feeling for a group of their neighbors in the country. And I think that it's a tremendous sign of exactly what Rabbi Berg was talking about, of what happens when people, whoever they are strong in their own identity, and they want to know about others who are also strong in their identity, with whom they live, work, and share a country. And I think this is a tremendous accomplishment, you might say, of the Enlightenment in this country.
Yeah, I agree. And I think in this country, we always talk about being a melting pot, people coming together. And I think that we're beginning to realize melting pot's not a great term. It should be more of a mosaic, where you see a beautiful mosaic, but if you look up close, there are a lot of individual pieces. And that's what this series, and PBS does that. PBS supports people in their identities and saying that America is this great country made up of so many different identities. And that's what PBS kind of brings together.
Thank you so much. Dr. Lawrence Schiffman and Rabbi Stephen Berg, great to have you here.
Thank you very much.
If you appreciate what these gentlemen have said, then please add your voice to the conversation and go to the phone and pledge your support. And thanks.